Once upon a time, there was a beautiful land called the Sylvan Realm, untouched by mankind and inhabited by benevolent nature spirits, also known as fairies, and their canine spiritual guardians. It wasn't the only place where they dwelled, but the one they called their home. Everything in it was imbued with magic, including the Glimmer Brick, a river flowing through the realm whose water would bless or curse the people who drank it, like the fairies themselves would bless kind-hearted souls who asked for their help, and curse those who intended to use their magical gifts for evil. There was also the Tree of Mother Moon, whose fruit would bestow immortality on anyone willing to pay the price. One day, a witch came along to ask about that tree. Since she was very old and afraid to die, she was hoping to prolong her life by eating the fruit, and we granted her wish. But she didn't live happily ever after. A few weeks after consuming the fruit, she asked us to take back what she called a curse, because even though it did grant her a much longer life, it also forced her to live said life in the dark, like her archenemies, the vampires. We told her that was the price of immortality, and there was no way of undoing it, for which she accused us of tricking her. And that was only the beginning of a decade-spanning feud between fairies and witches that ended with the latter invading the former's realm and claiming it for themselves. They wanted us gone, out of fear of our superior magic, and while most of their spells would rebound from us like light from a mirror, there was one type of magic that even we were powerless against, bringing time to a halt. When the woman who would later become known as the High Witch of Time Manipulation cast her devastating spell, she committed a crime against nature that even reality itself couldn't handle. Most of the Sylvan Realm was flung into another dimension, where it broke apart into islands floating over a bottomless abyss. A much smaller remnant, now known as Sylvan Glade, remained under the control of the last surviving fairies. Meanwhile, the original dimension was left with a giant crater in the region that would later be renamed to Glimmerbrick, after its famous river.
One of the first things the Ageless Sage did after being brought into the world by the 13 witches was to ban anyone from casting time-related spells. While he did acknowledge that his kind couldn't have defeated the fairies without that very branch of magic, he deemed it too dangerous to be used again, and it got to a point where most witches living today don't realize that time manipulation is really a thing. That even includes the Duplantiers, the descendants of the High Witch of Time Manipulation who was supposed to preserve the knowledge to keep the fairies in check, should it ever come to another war. Nowadays, the only witch known to be able to manipulate time is Elise.
And she keeps doing it, but the planet hasn't exploded yet.
Because she does it on such a small scale, only stopping time for individual people or rooms. The High Witch froze an entire realm, throwing it out of sync with the rest of the world, and nature paid the price for it. It is only a matter of time, no pun intended, until Elise's power grows to that same level, and then we can start fearing for the world.
But that doesn't explain why the fairies are keeping you here. You don't have that power, do you?
No, but I am something else that the Ageless Sage banned. A hybrid of various occult species, born with the potential to grow more powerful than every regular witch, vampire, mere person, or even fairy. The sage has become a lot less strict regarding this topic over the past 3 centuries, but the fairies still perceive me as a threat, so when I showed up to ask for their help, they wouldn't let me leave.
What is it that you need their help with?
Stopping the calamity.
You witches always claim that you want to help, but in the end, you only help yourselves. And even that, you suck at. You caused the destruction of the Sylvan Realm, and sooner or later, you will cause the end of the entire world as we know it.
You know not all witches are bad. You wouldn't have blessed me years ago if you honestly believed that.
You're wondering why Amara can still speak, but you can't. Because she is a kind-hearted soul who wishes no one ill. When she asked for our help, it was because she couldn't have children due to a disorder rendering her infertile. We cured her by permanently resetting her body to an age before the disorder developed. That's the difference between you and her. All she wanted was a family. What you want is power and chaos, and... Wait. Where did the old woman go?
Up. Someone should have given you a new watch for your birthday. It's the middle of the night. I can't understand you. Oh, that's Not good.
You never told me about your plans to stop the calamity. In fact, you kept telling me it wasn't possible.
And I still won't believe it until I see it, but, after seeing what the world was like before, I believe it's worth a try at least. Even if I fail, I won't gain anything from not trying either.
If the fairies won't help, we'll find another way. But first we have to get out of here. Are there any other entrances to Sylvan Glade than the one I came through?
There's also one in Mount Comoraby and in Willow Creek.
Right, I remember the latter. It's where Tiamo and Charmaine started looking for the forbidden tree months ago.
Too bad they're all guarded. You just have to wait until that fairy possessing your body leaves it alone, then you can go back, but I don't see myself getting out anytime soon.
You have to. Bitch is literally going insane out of fear for your safety, and now that I'm in trouble too. Fuck, I can't even imagine what this must be like for her.
Bitch sees herself as my familiar.
Apparently. It took us a while to figure out, but she seems to consider you part of the family, and in the past few days alone, her condition has worsened to the point where she's in a constant state of fear and barely reacts to anything around her anymore. Only Daisy was able to calm her down for a while.
How strange.
Not at all. That's exactly what happens when a familiar can't protect their family, well, at least according to Amara.
Who is Amara? Never mind. Yes, panic attacks are common in familiars who are unable to do what they were designed for, but what you're describing sounds a lot worse. There must be something else that's troubling her. You said only Daisy was able to calm her down?
Yes.
The boy who was previously possessed by a fairy. You floating little assholes. What have you done?
I demand to speak with her.
No way, not now!
Yes, right now. I'm the High Priestess, the right hand of the Ageless Sage, so I suggest you talk to him if you have a problem with me. Or you take it up with me personally, and I'll show you the other side of moon magic. Care to find out how much a protection spell can hurt?
Seraphine, thank you so much for coming by. They locked me up, but won't tell me why. I couldn't even speak to my family. Did something happen?
In a way. I don't even know how to say it. It's about you stopping time in our war with the fairies.
That again? After all those years. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm not happy with the result either, but it was the only way to defeat them and save our kind.
You and I know that, the Ageless Sage knows, and no one in their right mind would judge you for doing what had to be done, but now the vampires have started revolting.
The vampires? Why do we care about the opinion of some rotten bloodsuckers? Hell, since when do they care what happens to another species?
They wouldn't, if not for their leader, a fairly influential gentleman called Mercury. He is said to be ancient, even by vampire standards, and owes his unusual longevity to the fairies.
So now he's looking for someone to blame for what happened to his friends, and the witches are willing to turn me in to prevent another war, is that it?
You have to understand, it's all for
the greater good. To keep the magic realm and the magic community from breaking apart, we all have to make sacrifices. If that is the will of the Ageless Age, I will comply. Bring me to him, so we can talk.
I'm very sorry, but I knew you'd see reason if someone explained the situation to you. A fragment of your soul is in the Ageless Sage after all, so it was in part your own decision.
And you call yourself my friend? Go to hell, all of you.
If there is one thing we have learned in the past 300 years, it's that witches can't be trusted, and hybrids even less, so it's doubtful that you can give us even one good reason to release your hybrid friend. But since we're not the ruthless demons you make us out to be, we'll at least let you try. You may speak again.
Oof, finally. Is it normal to feel like you have a lump in your throat when you can't speak?
I don't think so. But who am I to know?
You want a reason? How about righting a wrong? You talk about blessing kind-hearted souls and cursing people with not-so-kind intentions, but if you were actually practicing what you preach, you wouldn't be keeping an innocent man prisoner after you already attacked him for no reason in Mount Como-Rebi, where you also possessed the body of an innocent child, and now you're possessing my sisters. Your definition of kindness either doesn't apply to you, or leaves a lot to be desired.
That's rich coming from you. Aren't you the latest person to turn one of us into what you call Azrael's doll, so you could safely die and come back to life? A fairy perished just so you could get rid of a curse, by means of a resurrection ritual that your hybrid friend put you up to, so how innocent is he really? We could have lifted that curse without sacrifice, and without you losing your memory. How you even remember anything that happened between binding yourself to the doll and being resurrected is a mystery to us.
I don't. My family told me about it, because we talk to each other. Your kind doesn't talk. You just expect everybody to play by your unwritten rules and punish those who don't. If we had actually asked for your help, if we had even known that that was a possibility, would you have done it? Would you have blessed a family of witches, vampires, and hybrids that you despise so much? Or would you have silenced us, like you did today, to tell us the sad story of your life that was ruined by ancient witches who have nothing to do with us?
We'll never know because you never tried, but those ancient witches have more to do with you than you realize. Just ask your familiar. Or don't. It's not like she remembers, or could tell you if she did.
More riddles.
I can't stay with you much longer. This vessel is tiring. The body of a child, the mind of an adult, not ideal for someone like me. But I'll tell you this. The sickness that befell your dog in Mount Como Rebbe may have felt like a common cold, but it wasn't. It was the past catching up with her.
Willie.
I have to say, this world is really pretty, despite everything. Not the worst prison I can imagine.
Pretty to look at, but also pretty boring. There's nothing to do here. That's why I created this house.
If you can just create stuff out of thin air, how do you have any problems at all?
Have you forgotten the #1 rule of creation magic? The reason you couldn't keep your motorboat on Sulani? What came from nothing must return to nothing. The natural order demands that eventually, this house and everything in it shall disappear again.
So what? You're not going to stay here forever. Can't you just create something that helps you flee and send it back to Nirvana when you no longer need it?
Something like that already exists. The silver moon crystal I recovered from the top of Mount Komarabi. Someone I've been working with told me it's strong enough to withstand even fairy magic. But I don't have it with me, and every time I tried to summon it, the fairies stopped me, suggesting that it might actually work.
So, all I have to do is bring that crystal here, so they won't be able to stop us from entering or leaving their realm, and we can confront them as a group.
As I said, once your physical body is free again, you can... Oh, I suppose it just happened.
Guys, she's awake.
Is that really you, Wilbica? How are you feeling?
Like I'm having the worst hangover ever. I don't even know what a hangover feels like, but this is how I imagine it.
You've never been astral projecting for this long, and your physical body was possessed in the meantime. No wonder you're exhausted.
But I found Loki, and I know what to do to help him.
Tiamo, what happened? I can speak again. Did you exorcise that fairy and break its curse?
More or less, but Willie needs to rest, Finn is staying with her, and we still have to help Loki. What's Elise doing here?
Helping Loki, like you said. It's only fair after he got me out of the angel's prison. Besides, I hear those fairies are especially susceptible to my power of time manipulation.
True, but we're also going to need a silver moon crystal to get into their realm and protect ourselves from their magic.
Of course. Why didn't I think of that? I can fetch it from our vault in no time.
Do that, then meet us in Willow Creek. There's another entrance to Sylvan Glade that isn't invisible, or at least it's marked so clearly that you can't possibly miss it. Charmaine and I have been there before, I know where to go.
Alright, see you there. I love these slippers. Best birthday gift ever.
Mommy?
Dantalion. Hey. What are you doing here? Where is your father?
You're packing. Are we going somewhere?
No, we're not. I mean, you are not. You know, there have been tensions in the magic realm lately. Nothing to worry about, just a little misunderstanding that will hopefully settle itself. But until then, it's best if Mommy disappears.
Are they going to kill you?
What?
Because of what you did to the fairies. Are the witches going to kill you for it? One of their own. Harsh, but just. Good to know your kind isn't completely immoral after all.
Who are you? Get out of my son's body at once, or I'll—
You'll do what? Hurt your own son? Call your friends who want to burn you at the stake? Please, go on. We can't wait to see what you'll do next. Not that it's going to change anything.
Because you're going to rat me out anyway?
No. What your fellow witches do to you in this life, as amusing as it may turn out, ultimately doesn't matter to us. We just want to make sure you won't ever bother us again. So for the mistakes of your past, we curse your future. From now on and forevermore, in whichever form you may be reincarnated, any reunion with us, be it in person, through a familiar or a protege, shall bring you nothing but pain and death. You have been warned, High Witch of Time Manipulation.
Hi. Nice house you built yourself here, but wouldn't you like to go home now?
How did you get here?
Wilbica told us about the trick with the silver moon crystal, and it seems to be working.
So she's okay? I figured she must have returned to her body when her spirit suddenly vanished, but didn't know for sure.
We were actually more worried about you. She told us you called the fairies assholes.
Yeah, the Loki we know would never use such bad words, so we considered the possibility that you might be possessed yourself.
Well, it was an emergency situation.
Don't even think about putting any hexes on us, you guileful fuckers. Our silver moon crystal will throw them right back at you. You know, now that I think of it, I'd love to see that, so go ahead, try to curse us.
I could do this all day, to every single one of you, your canine zombies, and your entire world. What's left of it anyway? Would you like to see the new High Witch of Time Manipulation blow up your last remaining sanctuary?
Look at that. Elise is on fire today.
Probably still mad about those assholes possessing her nephew.
You said it again.
Guilty as charged.
Reverse Smurf. You look just as weird as usual, no extra weirdness whatsoever. Hard to believe you've been held captive and tortured for 2 weeks.
And you're just as charming as usual. I wasn't tortured, but thanks, I guess.
Can we go now?
Not yet. We're having so much fun.
You know what they say, it's best to finish on a high note. Come on, I want to see how bitch is doing, now that we're all safe again.
Did that happen because I knocked? Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you.
It's not your fault. Accidents happen wherever I go. It's like I'm exerting a magical pull on them, the only kind of magic I'm good at. It also seems to work on strangers who keep coming into my house lately.
My name is Loki, and the one the previous strangers came looking for the other night.
Oh, that's you. I take it they were successful then.
Indeed, but they couldn't have done it without you, so I came to thank you. And to ask for your help once more.
You can ask, but if my streak of bad luck continues, I'm afraid I'm not going to be of any help at all.
You seem to know a lot about the fairies, unlike most people in the magic realm. When my friends asked your grandson about them, he didn't even believe in their existence.
That's true. I never told my family about my dealings with them. They wouldn't understand. As you've probably already noticed, witches and fairies have a complicated history.
That history, I'd like to write it down in a new book for the Magic Realm's library. The ageless sage won't approve, he'd rather pretend the fairies never existed, but they did, and still do, and the witches need to know their own past. The only other person I could ask about that is a very stubborn vampire overlord with a very one-sided perspective, so
you thought I could contribute something?
Only if you want to. I can promise it won't involve any magic, cooking, or other things where accidents can happen.
Sounds nice.
It's good to see bitch so lively again. That night you went to Henford-on-Bagley was the worst. At first I was glad when she fell asleep, but then I got worried she might never wake up again.
It's like nothing ever happened. I wonder if she even remembers the past few days.
Alright, I have to go now. We'll play again when I'm back from university, okay?
That reminds me, I should probably go to work. The fish in the magic realm won't catch themselves, and the chances of the other fishermen catching them are even slimmer.
And I have a cultural festival to attend that I'd like to write an article about.
Culture my ass. Isn't GeekCon also today? I bet that's where you're going, to play some more video games.
I don't know how you of all people learned about GeekCon, but no, I'm going to the Harvest Moon Festival on the island of Windenburg. If you don't believe me, come with me. Surely the fishermen in the magic realm will survive one day without you.
Ha! I'm looking forward to seeing what you'll do about that.
The way you're phrasing that, I suppose I should be scared right now. And I might be, if I actually understood the rules of this game.
Leviathan must have forgotten something again. The boy really needs to learn how to use his keys. You're not Leviathan.
No, but you're the owner of a very dangerous dog. We're here for bitch.
Thanks again for talking to your friend on Crumbling Isle. It's been too long since I went on an excursion to an exciting new place with my friends.
It's just a camping trip, Evelyn. I wouldn't call Crumbling Isle new or exciting, and my friend who lives there has a name. You must remember Drew from our teen years.
I believe he preferred to be called Draconaut back then. Yes, I remember him, but I'm glad you're no longer keeping such shitty company.
Except when it's of use to you, right? You're such a hypocrite.
And here comes my chance to confess my sins. That must be Reverend Kaylani. See you tomorrow, Elise. Bye, David, and don't be late for school.
Shouldn't she be going to school herself?
Technically yes, but she's taking a day off because she really wanted to do this trip on a full moon night. And most other members of the Christian Housewife Club don't work or attend university. What about you? Do you trust me enough to let me give you a ride?
I know the way to school, thanks. I'm more interested in what you're going to do, oh great new high witch of time manipulation.
What? David, is everything alright?
I curse you. With power.